What I quickly wanted to say just before the video started is you can afford all these players together in the same team. So everyone I mention in this video you can buy and have in the same team. It's not me going to be naming a load of players which then you go, oh crap, I can't afford all these players, why is he telling me all these great players, which might get me loads of points during the season, but I can't have them all. You can afford all these players and you can fit all these players in your team. This is the fantasy football team that I have now. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll leave you to it. Hello and welcome back football fans to Centre Circle. My name's Joe Wreford and today I'll be taking you through some of the main players I think you should have in your fantasy football team, and just running through their stats, why you should have them in your team, and then the other players I've based around them just quickly, and we'll just be quickly running through and I'll be giving my reasons as to why. So jumping straight into it, we're going to start with my main man, goalkeeper Alisson. Reason being is because he got 176 points last season in his first Premier League season. His price is 6 million. He got 21 clean sheets, most clean sheets in the season last season, and goals he conceded was 22. He's got a pretty steady game week for the first 4 weeks. You got Norwich at home, Southampton away, Arsenal at home and Burnley away. He's a brilliant keeper who got a golden glove in his first season in the Premier League, and I think he's only going to get better with a strong defence in front of him. So he plays for Liverpool. He's 6 million. Definitely get him in your team. So next, moving into the defence. So what I like to do, by the way, just quickly explain, is you have your main goalkeeper, main defender, one or two main midfielders, and then a main striker. Then what you want to do is you want to base your team around them. So obviously I've gone with Alisson in goal, and then my main defender I'm going with is Alexander-Arnold. Reason being is he got 185 points last season, which is really impressive considering he's a right back. That's a lot of points for a defender, and he only costs 7 million. It's a little bit on the pricey range, obviously, because he's your main defender you're going to be putting in your team, but then you can still put some decent defenders around him if you choose so. So his influence in the game is 734, creativity 837, and threat is 276. They're pretty self-explanatory. The higher they are, the better they are. So he creates a lot of chances basically in a game. So he's very high at getting assists. That's why he's brilliant to have in your team. He influences a lot of the team, so obviously he sets up a lot of passes and things like that, and gets really involved in the game, which gives him a better chance of getting better points and scores. 276 threat because he doesn't necessarily score himself, but he does get himself into some good positions to have a shot if necessary, and also he does take one or two set pieces within the season. He scored a beautiful goal against Watford, I'm pretty sure, last season, I believe, and it was absolutely stunning. So he's definitely a player I think you should have in your Premier League team. If not, you could also have Robertson. Reason being is he's very similar to Trent Alexander-Arnold, similar price, similar points. Obviously plays for the same team, Liverpool. So to be honest, in my opinion, either Trent Alexander-Arnold or Andrew Robertson, either one of those two people will be brilliant to have in your defence. So moving on then to midfield, I'm going to start with my main player, Mane. Now, there was speculation, obviously, after coming back from the African Cup of Nations, that he might not start in the first game, which is against Norwich at home. By the looks of it, Klopp has come out and said that he's looking very, very fit, so he most likely will feature. He might not start, but he definitely will be available for the next game week. So he's good to start off with in your team, because you've got unlimited transfers up until half an hour before Liverpool play Norwich, and he's good to have. A lot of people are going to then try and transfer him in, and they're going to have to want to reorganise their team. It's going to be a nightmare. You might as well put him in now, because if he doesn't get injured, then he's going to be in your team for the rest of the season. So we got 231 points last season. We'll be talking about another player in a minute who's very similar and also great to have in your team. So 231 points, very handy, very good at getting you to the top of your leaderboard. He's 11.5 million, hence why he's your main person to have in your midfield and base other players around him, because he is on the price range. Remember, you've only got 100 million for your whole team. So he has 1015 influence, 692 creativity, and his threat is 1332. Those stats pretty much say it all after you've seen the stats of Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's got a massive influence on the game. He creates a fair amount of chances, likes to assist Salah a lot, and his threat is very high because he is a very, very good goal scorer, and you're guaranteed points with Mane in some form or another. Hence why he's definitely a good player to have as a captain, because you'll be able to grab some more points and maybe beat your friends in your league. So again, another Liverpool player. We've started with 3 Liverpool players just because I'm a Liverpool supporter, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but they are in the top 2 in the Premier League. It's Liverpool and Man City, so obviously the players are outstanding at the minute. They perform very highly, and you want to get as many points in your fantasy team. So unfortunately, you're going to have Liverpool players in there because they are playing very, very well at the moment. So moving on, as much as it pains me to say it as a Liverpool fan, Sterling. Reason being is because, well, the numbers don't lie, do they? 234 points, which was actually 3 points more than Mane last season. 12 million he cost a little bit more than Mane, but they're a great pair, and I think Sterling and Mane, you can utilise them as your 2 main men in your midfield. So I've gone for a heavier midfield than a defence because they're going to get you more points than your defence. So his influence 1060, creativity 937, threat 1572. So on fantasy football, he is that slight bit better than Mane, but having Sterling and Mane, or if you didn't want Mane or Sterling, you could have Mo Salah within that mix. So Mo Salah, Sterling, Mane. You won't be able to afford all 3, but what I'm trying to say is you could have Sterling, Mo Salah, Mane, Mo Salah, but then you might have to have a different keeper, and yeah, you would have to have a different keeper, or keep Alisson and have a different defender in there, so one of those 3. But like, I would definitely have 2 of them in there. I've gone with Sterling and Mane. I just think they're going to get me a lot of points in my fantasy football team. Obviously, injuries may occur, but I highly doubt it. These 2 players are very important within their team, and they always manage to stay fit, which is brilliant to see. He's got a decent game week 1 to 4. West Ham away always proves to be a slight challenge, West Ham away. However, I'm sure Man City, being the team they are, will probably win that. I'm going to say 2 or 3-0. I don't even think they'll let a goal in. Then they've got Spurs at home the second week, a hard second game. Bournemouth 3rd week, and Brighton 4th week. So probably 4 out of 4 wins there for City. Sterling is definitely getting a few assists or fewer goals in all of the games, if not at least 3 of them. He's an outstanding player and will get you a lot of points in your fantasy team. So definitely keep him in there, and you'll probably find that you'll keep him in your team for the rest of the season. I've gone with him as my captain just because with a team, he's the main man for City. He seems to get on the ball a lot, create a lot. Obviously, with his creativity being quite high at 937. But yeah, it's between Mane and Sterling. Either one as captain. Maybe when choosing a captain, it comes down to game week. So I've gone with Sterling. I think just because Mane might not start against Norwich, he might only get a few minutes as he's not long been back from pre-season. So yeah, definitely have Sterling in your team. I've managed to afford Mane and Sterling in my team, with also my main striker being Kane. So I've gone with Kane. I probably won't have him for the whole season, as Kane always seems to have a good, strong start to the season, in my opinion, and then likes to fade off a little bit towards the end. Either that's with injury, or he just sometimes disappears for a bit. But he always seems to be very, very good at the start of the season. In the news a lot of articles written about him saying how outstanding he is, brilliant English player, which he is indeed, but he does like to trail off near the back end of seasons. So he's good to have at the start, but you'll probably find halfway through I'll end up substituting him out, and obviously he might get injured as well. His points show that he got 160 points last season. Considering he's a striker, he got substantially a lot less points than Mane and Sterling. Mane and Sterling they can play midfield, but obviously they usually play like right and left wing. But considering Kane is the target man, the main striker, to have that many less points than them two just shows that he does like to trail off. But definitely good to have at the start of the season. He costs 11 million, hence why he will be your main striker. His influence 824, creativity 430. So you see, he is the target man. He doesn't create a lot. He picks up the ball, he turns around, and he tries to score a goal. That is his job. His strat is 1,359. He's their penalty taker, main penalty taker. So you know if there's a penalty, Kane's going to grab a goal because he's wicked at penalties. He will always bag them. Top bins usually as well. His game week, one is against Aston Villa at home. That's going to be a tough game. Aston Villa have made a lot of new signings, but so have Tottenham. Tottenham have definitely strengthened, and they'll probably be a bit too much for Aston Villa, probably with Kane picking up a goal. Man City with game week 2. That's going to be an interesting game. Hard one. You could see Sterling and Kane both getting a goal in that game, so that would be interesting. Be brilliant for your fantasy team points. Newcastle 3rd week and Arsenal 4th week. Again, they haven't got the best start to the season. There are some hard matches in there. Luckily, they've got Newcastle at home and not away. But Arsenal and Man City away in the first 4 weeks is definitely tough. However, he's definitely going to be your main striker. But you can also have another kind of main striker, and I'm surprised I managed to afford him, to be honest. But I've gone with Wilson from Bournemouth. Now, he got 168 points last season. He actually got 8 points more than Kane. So, with all the hype surrounding Kane, you've got a little gem here in Wilson with Bournemouth. Main target man again, likes to put them away, likes to get you a fair amount of points in your fantasy team. 168 points is brilliant, and he only cost 8 million. So he cost a lot less than Kane and got more points than him last season. Now, like I said, I'm starting with Kane at the start of the season, but most likely will substitute him out. And considering he costs 11 million, I've got the choice of choosing pretty much whoever I want, whoever's playing well in that striker role. Influence 737, creativity 388, threat 1137. He's a terrific goal scorer and definitely will get you a lot of points in your fantasy team. Now, the reason I've done the plays like this and I haven't put Mo Salah in this lineup, the reason I haven't put other players like Robertson in this lineup is because you can afford all these players together, right? I think I didn't stress that at the beginning. I know I'm talking about it now, but I'm probably going to add a little section right at the start just explaining that. I should have explained that. You can afford all these players together. It's not this is a good player, this is a good player, this is a good player. I'm not here telling most football fans will know who the good players are. That's obvious. Do you know what I mean? You see how they played last season. You can see the stats, but I'm showing you their stats, and I'm showing you that you can afford all of these in the same team, which I think is absolutely brilliant. And the way I do my fantasy team is I have like I said, a main goalkeeper, main defender, 1 or 2 main midfielders, 1 or 2 main strikers. I always go with a slightly heavier midfield, and then forget about the substitute bench. Just forget about it. If you ever have an injury within your team, you most likely will only get 1 a week. You probably wouldn't get more than that. If you did, then that's just unfortunate. But usually, if there's an injury, you'll have a substitute left, transfer left over. Just transfer him out for that week. Lob in a player who's going to get you a couple of points. Then when they're back to fitness, put them back in your fantasy team again. Nice and easy. Don't waste money on the substitute bench. There's just no point. So I'm just going to move on to the other players I got in my team. So I've got Hanley from Norwich. Decent player. He only costs 4 million. Just someone I thought I can lob in, might grab me a couple of points here and there throughout the season. Might change him out for someone who maybe is cheap and playing very well, like for someone like Sheffield United, or he might have a good season himself. We never know. First game is against Liverpool. Obviously, being a Liverpool fan, I like to think we're going to walk that 3-0, maybe 3-1 or something. But he's probably as a defender gonna let quite a few goals in, so he's probably not gonna score that many points. In defence, I've gone with I can never say his name properly. It's Alderweireld or Alderweireld, or I don't know how you pronounce it, but there it is. It's on screen there. Don't slate me. It's something along the lines of that. Plays for Tottenham, brilliant defender. Tottenham are a top side who've made some top signings, and they got Champions League final last season, and yeah, they probably won't let in a lot of goals over the season, so he'll definitely pick you up a couple of points, and he usually starts in the starting 11. And then I've gone for like a wild card player, Ndombele, playing for Tottenham, new signing for them, so not a lot. He played brilliant for Lyon. He only cost 6 million, which I think is really good, because I can see him having quite a good season and standing out. I've also then gone with Neves from Wolves. He got 104 points last season. That's a healthy amount considering he only cost 5.5 million. He's a player you can swap in and out. If someone's playing a bit better, pop him in. If he looks like he's on the rise up, pop him back in again. And then I've gone with another wild card, Abraham. 7 million. Obviously not been tested in the Premier League yet, but played absolutely brilliant for Aston Villa in the Championship and was a clinical person at getting them into the Premier League. So I think under Frank Lampard, he's really going to shine this season, and we're going to see him putting away quite a few goals. I definitely can see him picking up points for people in their fantasy team, hence why I've put him in mine. So just to run through my fantasy football team, I've got Alisson in goal, Hanley, Alderweireld, Alexander-Arnold in defence. I've got 3-man defence, Ndombele, Raheem Sterling, Mane and Neves in midfield, and then I've got Kane, Abraham and Wilson up front. Now, I think, in my opinion, that's what I'm making this video. Not sound big-headed, might be proven wrong. Obviously, I'm going to do this as a weekly series, showing you if any just quick updates, and if I've made any transfers. If so, why, etc. But I'm very, very happy with this side. Excited to see how many points I get in game week 1, and yeah, I definitely think if you're new to fantasy football, you can take something away from this. If you're someone who's returning to fantasy football and you think you know what you're on about, I don't know 100% if I know what I'm on about. I just think I am, and I like to make these videos, one, to look back and see if I was right, if I was wrong or right about anything, and yeah, and hopefully give you guys some tips and tricks to hopefully, if I know a lot of you will probably be in some fantasy football leagues where you've probably played like tenner, and then there's like a little kitty pot of like £300. Obviously you're gonna want to win that, so hopefully with my advice, we can hopefully top you that. Grab you that top spot, and you can win that money. So yeah, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, it's all a learning curve for me. I'm new. I used to do YouTube when I was younger, but I've got a massive love for football and really want to make some videos on it, and videos what you guys enjoy. I will get better. My editing will get better. My editing's not the best on this video. I just wanted to get it out there quickly for you guys to see, maybe before game week 1 started at 8 o'clock with Liverpool versus Norwich. So yeah, hopefully you guys can take something away from this. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's been a bit lengthy, but hopefully it's been something which you've picked something up, and you can get a lot of points with me during the season in fantasy football. Yeah, so thank you for listening. My name's been Joe Wreford. You've been watching Tips and Tricks for Fantasy Football, and this has been Centre Circle. Thank you. Goodbye.